She barely spoke a word when she boarded the plane, slipping into her seat with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen much more than she let on. To the other passengers, she was just a calm woman traveling alone. But to the crew, something about her felt different, like she carried a story too heavy for casual conversation. The long flight hummed along smoothly, yet a strange tension followed her, almost like a shadow. No one knew her name, her past, or why she kept glancing out the window as if waiting for something. Hours later, as the aircraft crossed restricted airspace, the calm routine shifted. An alert flashed in the cockpit. 2 F-16 fighters were suddenly dispatched to escort the plane, a rare move that left the pilots confused and uneasy. They were given only one instruction: listen for a voice, with the call sign Phantom. Inside the cabin, she closed her eyes, breathing deeply, as if preparing for a moment she had hoped would never come. The passengers laughed, slept, or watched movies, unaware that the fate of the entire flight might rest on the quiet woman in seat 14A. Then, through the static of the military channel, a soft but steady voice finally broke the silence. It was her. Her tone carried weight, authority, and a strange familiarity that made both F-16 pilots sit up straighter. But before she could finish her message, the signal cut out, leaving everyone, including the pilots, stunned and waiting for what would happen next. The moment her voice faded from the military channel, the cockpit fell silent. The F-16 pilots exchanged quick glances, trying to make sense of what they had just heard. The call sign, Phantom, wasn't something that came up in normal operations. It belonged to a classified file, one that only a small circle of people had ever accessed. And that circle didn't include them. The lead pilot requested clarification from command, but all he received was another vague order. Maintain escort. Do not engage. That only made the tension heavier. Back in the cabin, the woman in seat 14A kept her gaze forward. She didn't reach for a phone, didn't speak to anyone, didn't even look nervous. Instead, she looked like someone quietly preparing for a storm only she knew was coming. A flight attendant approached her with a polite smile, asking if she needed anything. The woman simply shook her head, though her eyes softened, as if she almost wished she could explain. The passengers remained blissfully unaware. A child played with a toy plane, an older couple whispered about their vacation plans, and the cabin lights dimmed for the long haul. But beneath that peaceful surface, the air buzzed with invisible tension tied to the mystery surrounding her identity. Far above the clouds, the F-16 pilot suddenly received a fragmented transmission, an encrypted code that matched her voice pattern. They tried to decode it, but most of it was unreadable. Only one line came through clearly, and it changed everything. The words, "They found me," echoed in the pilots' minds long after the transmission ended. Neither of them knew who they were, but both understood the weight those 3 words carried. The escort formation tightened. The lead pilot lowered his altitude slightly, trying to get a clearer signal, while the second pilot scanned the horizon for anything unusual. But the sky looked calm, too calm for a situation that felt this dangerous. Inside the cabin, the woman finally shifted in her seat. Her fingers tapped lightly on the armrest, not out of fear but calculation. She scanned the passengers, her eyes lingering on people who seemed out of place. Anyone sitting too still, anyone whose gaze darted away too quickly. She wasn't just hiding. She was checking if someone on board had been sent to find her. A few rows back, a man in a gray jacket kept adjusting his watch. At first it looked like nothing more than nervous habit, but every adjustment sent a faint reflection across the cabin, catching her attention. She turned slightly, just enough to observe him without alerting him. His posture was rigid, his eyes fixed straight ahead, and his jaw tightened every time the aircraft shifted altitude. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, the pilots received partial intel at last. Phantom wasn't just a call sign. It was tied to a disappearance, a covert operation, and a warning that had never been fully explained. As the plane flew deeper into the restricted zone, the woman reached down, gripping something hidden beneath her jacket. She didn't pull it out, but its shape hinted at a device not meant for ordinary travelers. Outside, a third radar signal appeared on the pilot's screens, unidentified, fast, and closing in. The unidentified radar signal moved faster than anything the F-16 pilots expected at that altitude. It wasn't broadcasting a call sign, and it wasn't responding to any hails. The lead pilot steadied his voice as he radioed the cockpit of the passenger jet, warning them of a possible